Greetings, and welcome to 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Let's do the prologue. This game is fiction. All names, characters, and incidents portrayed in this production are fictitious. I'm going to say this now, this game is very narration heavy, and I'm probably going to read all of it, or at least as much as I can. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! A loud noise startled Junpei awake, and his eyes snapped open. As they adjusted to the light, he realized that he didn't recognize his surroundings. Ow! With a crack, Junpei's head connected with something metal. He rolled over and threw out his hand to steady himself, but he found himself groping at empty air. His balance lost and his still fuzzy mind struggling to understand what was going on, Junpei tumbled down to the cold gray floor. Yeah, I'm not gonna yell, but ouch, goddammit. Yeah, what the hell? Junpei glared around the room, still trying to determine where he had woken up. The fall had shaken the last cobwebs of sleep from his mind, and he finally understood where he had fallen from. It was a bed. A 3-level bunk bed, in fact. Junpei had fallen apparently from the topmost bunk. His shoulder hurt, his knee hurt, his hip hurt, his everything hurt. He could feel a bump forming on his forehead where he'd slammed it against the low ceiling. He wondered if that bump was the reason he felt his vision wavering a bit, but that seemed unlikely. At first he thought the tremor that ran through his leg was just another effect of his rude awakening, but as he looked around he realized it was real. The whole room was shaking. Was it an earthquake, he wondered? It didn't seem likely. It was shaking far too quickly for an earthquake. Then again, Junpei had no idea what it was, if not an earthquake. He tried to tell himself it was important. Junpei rubbed the growing bump on his head and gingerly climbed to his feet. His balance regained, he finally took his first good look around the room, and muttered to himself, "Where am I?" His pain momentarily forgotten in the face of confusion of his circumstances, Junpei looked around the room once again. Minutes passed while Junpei struggled to get his bearings. Then, as suddenly as they had begun, the tremors ceased. A cold silence fell over the room. From somewhere far away, Junpei could hear the sound of metal squeaking. He felt his stomach tighten. There were 1,000 things that sound could have been, but none of the things he could think of were good. In an attempt to distract himself, Junpei looked around the room once more. There was a stove that looked more antique than functional. The 3-level bunk bed had mattresses that were so thin they were little more than blankets. On the other side of the room was an identical bed, and set in the wall between the beds was a slightly dirty iron door. The first thing that Junpei noticed about the door was the number roughly emblazoned across it. On the surface of the door in red paint, someone had written 5. 5? What's this 5 mean? Suspicious and still utterly confused, Junpei approached the door slowly. Standing at last in front of the door, Junpei grabbed hold of the L-shaped handle. A push yielded no movement, and a pull the same result. A few more tries cemented the truth in Junpei's mind. It wouldn't open. It didn't matter how much he pushed and shoved, the handle wouldn't budge. Next to the door was an odd-looking device that reminded Junpei of a card reader. It didn't take a genius to figure out that the odd-looking device was keeping the door shut. Junpei knocked hard on the door. "Hey! Hello? Is anyone there? Open the door!" There was no response. Junpei threw his left fist into the door, and stopped. What the hell is this? He wasn't really sure what else to say. On his left wrist was a bracelet of a sort he'd never seen before. In the center was a large LCD display. It looked like nothing else so much as a watch, but it clearly wasn't that. After all, it showed only a single number. 5. That's the same as the door. True, the numbers were the same, but he had no idea what that might mean. All he knew was that it was strange and new, and he wanted it off. Junpei flipped his hand over as if to remove a watch, but the other side of the bracelet was solid. No buckle, no clasp, nothing. He sighed and flipped the thing back over. There were a number of rivets around the rim of the face. Perhaps... He pushed them, but nothing happened. On a watch, they might be dials for adjusting date or time, but on this bracelet, they did nothing. Junpei was at a loss. What was he going to do? Growing more desperate, he began to tug at it. However... Damn! It's no use. The thing won't come off. A steel ring ran from the face, around Junpei's wrist, and back into the face. He wouldn't be pulling the bracelet off any time in the near future. What the hell is the deal with this thing? Frustration and desperation were beginning to mix as the reality of the situation began to dawn fully on Junpei. So much was happening, and none of it made sense. Junpei felt as though he were about to explode. Where am I? And why the hell am I here? Why? Why? What the hell happened to me? It was at that moment that he noticed the window. The window was round, rimmed in riveted brass like a window from an early 20th century ship. What? Wait, am I in a ship? Junpei walked slowly towards the window. He could see nothing beyond it but thick impenetrable darkness. Junpei squinted, trying to see something. Anything. It was at that moment... What the... You gotta be kidding me! What the hell is going on here? A crack split the glass of the window, and for a moment Junpei stared at it. Then the window burst and water began to pour into the room. I'm gonna turn this down a bit. Probably pretty loud. What the hell? God damn it! Junpei yelled and spun around. His feet slipping on the water already coming through the window, he ran for the door. Hey! Anyone! Is anyone there? Come on, if you're there, say something! There was no reply. As Junpei screamed and pounded on the door, the water began to rise. It was now ankle-deep on the floor and rising quickly towards his knees. Things were not looking good for Junpei. Not good at all. He needed to find a way out, and quickly. Junpei ran a hand across his forehead, brushing the sweat out of his eyes, and looked around the room. Seek a way out. Third class cabin. It's where we are right now. Operations during an escape. You don't necessarily need to know this, and I already know these things, but I will read over them anyway. During an escape, you can move to different parts of the room by touching the bottom screen. Since many areas require very exact selection, we recommend you use the stylus. Searching during an escape. During an escape, you can touch the background to search anywhere in the room. Areas you can investigate will be highlighted yellow the moment you touch them. Depending on the nature of the location you touch, you might find an item or a hint. Begin searching by touching places on the bottom screen. How to move. Touch the triangle icon on the bottom screen. Doing so will change the viewing angle of the room and move you to different locations. You can do the same thing by pressing left, right, and down on the control pad. Bird's eye view. If you want to know where you are, touch X on the camera icon on the bottom screen. This will show you where you are and what direction you're facing. Saving during an escape. Pressing start will allow you to save. If you want to quit, we recommend pressing start. Purpose of the escape. The purpose of each escape is to get out of the room. Duh! How you do that depends on the room. You'll need to search all throughout the room to discover what you'll need to do to get out. Search for hints and items that may help you find a way out. I'm considering stopping here. So I will. Yes. Before I go, I'd just like to note I have played through and beaten this a few times, but there is potential spoiler data pretty much on the menu if I were to have loaded it like that, so I deleted my save file and stuff. But I promise you, this will be good. And I apologize for my voice if you get annoyed by it eventually. Because, like I said, narrator heavy. Anyway, until next time, peace.